Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of Nain's Shorts, where we tackle the big questions. That's a lie. It's just random thoughts that we have about training, but hopefully they're entertaining enough to continue watching or pass on to others, and they're helpful in some way. Now, before we continue, just wanted to remind you, VEA Collaborative this Saturday. It's coming up. If it snuck up on you, you haven't been watching the show because I've been reminding you this whole time. Make the time if you can. Saturday in Manteca, VEA Collaborative. Mike Cardenas is hosting yet another one of his awesome seminars with multiple instructors on the floor and actually great food too. So definitely, if you can, make it. If you can't, cancel your plans you have and make it anyways, because it's going to be a fun time. Now, that's actually kind of what I wanted to talk about. Like, if you don't already have something else going on a particular day, what motivates you to get up and train? To drive a couple hours from where you live and spend an entire day listening to different martial artists and trying out their stuff and really giving it the focus to try to make it work? What drives you there besides your mom? Because some of us are in martial arts because our parents wanted us to. They're the ones paying. We're still under their roof and they provide the money, and you're like, okay, well, I kind of have to go because my mom said I did, or my dad said I would have to. So in a sense, that's their motivation to go to the class. For others, they simply just love the art. You get so wrapped up in learning and getting new knowledge and seeing the results of your efforts in actual contact. You have to perform what you're doing in order to know that it's working, and it's a really cool feeling. And I think you guys can tell where I'm at with that one, because I still geek out. I still love seeing how one concept and idea becomes something else, and then how to use it, and then how it becomes engrossed in everything else that you have already been practicing, and it enhances it. It's a really awesome process to view and to be a part of, and then to execute. So yeah, that's where I am in the training aspect of it. But everyone has a different reason, a different motivation to go for it. Some people have just been bullied so bad that they just really need something in their belt or something under their belt that is going to help them out, even if it just eases their discomfort or their anxiety from possibly getting bullied again. There's some people that just like socializing. They like the environment. They like the people. So they want to be around it. They want to share with those people that are there and have a good time. And then you have people who just want that title. They want that rank. They want that belt. They want to say, I am this, I am that. And maybe bank off it, or maybe just achieve it and then move on to something else. There's so many reasons why you do something, but is that reason enough to keep you going? Is that motivation long lasting? That's going to push you forward to actually focus on what you're doing and achieve the next step, if there is a step, or simply to stay in it long enough to do something significant with it or learn something significant from it. Of course, you have to also have discipline, or maybe you don't. Maybe those are two separate sides of the coin. You're either motivated or you're disciplined. But then what is discipline? Is discipline simply showing up? Or is it showing up with a certain attitude or mindset? Is it showing up with a certain degree of focus to actually do something significant with it? Or do you need both in order to achieve something, to keep going, to continue with what you started and actually finish it? Because some days I just don't feel motivated. Some days I just rather just stay in bed and sleep. You can't, because you have other responsibilities as an adult, but if you can, bless you. And I hope one day to be just like you. But until then, I have other stuff to do. And sometimes my motivation is I want to go practice, but I don't have the time because I have all these other things that I do need to take care of. But then the discipline of showing up, continue to show up. And truth be told, I think that's the only thing that I have, but it was never just the discipline for me. It was the motivation to learn and to want to be there. I've failed so many times in so many lessons in so many years, but the thing about me is that I kept coming back. I kept showing up, and I kept having the mentality to say, hey, I really do want to learn this. And we live in a time now where, let's face it, the attention span of every generation from us and on seems to be shorter and shorter and shorter. And if it isn't on one of those little screens, we don't seem to pay attention to it, or at least not for 30 seconds at a time. Anything longer and, well, completely lost. So as an instructor, how do we tackle that? How do we keep our students motivated while still developing that discipline? Now, I'm sure everyone has different opinions. One of the first opinions may be, well, that's what the traditional arts are for. They teach a certain degree of discipline. And I agree, they do. But is that discipline only cultivated in a certain age group? Because once you get to a certain point, nearing adulthood or adulthood, can you really develop that discipline in somebody whose mind has already developed that far along? For children, I can see that working very well. For people older, I don't know. And if you can't develop that discipline in older students, how do you keep them motivated? Because they would have to have brought that discipline themselves. So what gets them excited? What gets them going? Do you appeal to the reason why they started martial arts? Do you focus on that and say, hey, this is your journey, this is what you're here for, so I'm going to embrace that and help you? Or do you pass them along to somebody who is closer on that idea? They're there to socialize, so it's a more social setting. Oh, they're there because they truly love the art, so you give them all the little secrets, all the little nuances that you don't necessarily share with everybody. And that could create a whole different set of issues, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're just talking about, do you change the way that you're doing things to keep that specific person motivated for their reasons for why they showed up in your classroom? And then the discipline aspect of it. Does it work with everybody across the board? Just showing up enough, or showing up with a certain attitude? How do you develop that attitude? Is it the repetitive things that we do, from the bowing to the way that we treat our belts, to the way that we put on our gis, to the way that we salute our instructors? Is that enough to develop that degree of discipline in people, or is it just repetition? And is that what discipline is? Just repetition. There's so many ideas go on in my mind when it comes to this, and I'm not saying any one of them are right. I'm just pointing out that there are different aspects to this conversation that we should probably talk about a little more. Because as instructors, we want to keep our students, but we also want to keep them motivated. But we also want them disciplined enough to, not act like jackasses while they're in class, and actually learn and take away something. Even more so, to be disciplined enough to go home, and while there, have the motivation to actually train something, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 5 hours, doesn't matter. It's all good progress, but it has to happen beyond just the school. And if it only happens in the school, well, then what kind of person is that? What kind of martial artist do they really want to become? If any further than just reaching the top rank and then moving on to something else. So much can be said about it. I don't know how you keep your students motivated. For us, it's been a weird combination of inspiring them, but also letting them know they have the freedom to create beyond what was given to them. Because you have to prove to your students they're capable of accomplishing what you are trying to teach them that day, that they can actually do it themselves and do it effectively. And then encourage them or inspire them to go outside of class and do it better. We had an interesting class this weekend where it started off as something almost mundane. in the sense that we've done it before. It's been done before. This idea of opening and closing, we call it gunting in the Filipino martial arts. So it's a double stick exercise, and you receive essentially with a cross. Your sticks cross, and you receive their attack right in the center. And what it became was this idea of shield and sword. One pushes, the other one attacks, so on and so forth. You go back and forth at which side you do it. And then eventually it started working on footwork. Oh, you have to step in. How does that change the way that you receive the energy that's coming at you? And halfway through, I realized that it had nothing to do with the sticks whatsoever. Because one, you're not going to have them in a real fight. So, it can't be about the sticks. It was an idea to get them to be able to step in and actually get into a close range where then they're more effective with everything that they do, that they're so comfortable with their hands that they don't fear getting that close. They don't get concerned with, oh, I'm too close to this person, I feel stuffed or something. And it just allowed them to freely get in there. And at the end of it, yeah, they were hitting me pretty hard. These girls are not nice at all when it comes to attacking an adult, but they got it. They were able to step into a punch and move it out of the way just enough. And even one of them started throwing elbows, which we didn't even talk about at that time, but they felt like that was the right thing to do at that time. And it was a very proud moment to see them take this simple exercise. And that's what it was. A lot of it were just little exercises that we pieced together, took things from other ones and put them into this, and it became an idea. And that idea went forward, and they seemed so excited about it at the end because they were able to, one, hurt me, but also they took every little bit, every step from the beginning to the end, and they put it together for what they needed, for their size, for what they were trying to accomplish. And they even started throwing in their own interpretations of what they could or couldn't do in that moment. So, I don't know. I feel like we inspired them to keep coming back. We motivated them to actually do this more. And I hope that's what keeps them coming back. But honestly, I don't know. You guys would have more information on this. Those of you who have been teaching a lot longer than I have, who have held legitimate schools, brick and mortar places where you've had dozens of people come through. How do you keep them motivated, but also develop the discipline to train outside of that, to train outside of your school, to become better and better? Or do you simply just accept that some will and some won't? Some will quit after a certain belt level, and some will stay there for the rest of their lives. Is that just the reality of it? Or is there more that we can do to focus and make sure that the students get something significant out of it? Not just because we feel like we have something worth giving, but because we've inspired them to be a bit more motivated, to be a bit more disciplined for themselves. All right? Just question again, please add your comments. Feel free to share anything that you'd like on the topic. I do hope you have a wonderful day. And until the next one, as usual, 3, 2, 1, cut!